earphones. So am I audible now? Am I audible now, folks? Okay. One moment, folks. All right, folks. Good morning. So I think in the interest of time, maybe we should get started over here. So today we are going to do from question number 81 to 100, and you can see how exactly we have done the other questions in the previous live sessions, which are recorded over there in the video form already, right? So three amounts x, y, z are such that y is the compound interest on x, right? Okay, right? Y is the compound interest on x and z is the compound interest on y. The rate of interest, right? This point is very important. The rate of interest per annum and the time period in the years are the same. Which one of the following is or are correct? Okay. So if I assume x is equal to 1000, okay, if I assume x is equal to 1000, time period as 1 and rate is equal to 10%, right? Okay, so automatically y will be how much? 100, okay, because y is the compound interest of x and automatically z will be 10% of this particular value, isn't it? Okay, so this is for the case of what? 1 year. Okay, so now if you look for this, obviously this is not going to be the correct answer. X square, right? X square means 1 and there will be 6 zeros out of it, okay, right? I mean in front of it. Okay, so that is obviously not the right answer. Okay, how about this one? Z square, z square will be 100, so obviously this one is not going to be the correct answer. Okay, now y square is equal to zx, y value is 100, so y square is equal to z into x, x value is this. Okay, so 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, right? Okay, so B option is probable. Okay, but if you look at D also, x, right? X means 1000 is equal to y into z. Okay, right? Okay, x is equal to y into z is also one of the options over here, right? Okay, so out of these two, B and D, which one do you guys want to go ahead with? Okay, right? So we'll do a slight tweak. Okay, the tweak over here is that everything will keep it the same, right? Okay, and we know that right now we have only two options in the picture, right? Okay, which is your B or D, which could be the probable answer. Okay, so now we'll change the rate from 10% to over here 20%, right? Okay, and we will let time remain as it is. Okay, why I am letting time remain as it is? Because in the overall scheme of thing, it is P into 1 plus R by 100 raised to the power T, right? Okay, so when you have raised to the power T, the calculation is not that easy, right? Okay, so we will not work out with that. Instead we worked out with the rate. Okay, we have changed the rate, right? This 1000 will remain 1000 only, but now for 1 year at 20% interest rate, this y value will be 200. Okay, and z value will be how much? Okay, z value will be how much? Okay, 20% of this particular value, right? 20% of this particular value is how much? 40. Okay, can you check, can you get x is equal to yz? This is your x value, this is your y value, this is your z value. Okay, x is equal to yz over here is not possible. Okay, y square, which means your 200 square, is equal to z into x over here, right? Okay, then this one comes out to be the correct answer. So obviously for this particular question, question number 81, we will go ahead with b y square is equal to xz as the correct answer for this particular question, folks. Right? Alright, so let's move on to the next one. There are n concentric squares. Okay, so there are n concentric squares. The area of the innermost square is 1 unit, and the distance between corresponding corners of any two consecutive square is 1 unit. Okay, right? Let's read through that. Okay, don't freak out with all of these square root and all that. Okay, right? So I'm saying that there are only 3 squares over here. Okay, if there are only 3 squares over here, it will look something like that, isn't it? It will look something like that, isn't it? Okay, or let me for that matter draw it in a bigger manner. Okay, if I draw it in a bigger manner over here, so this is the value of your n, right? Okay, so n concentric squares, so I'm saying n is equal to 3, right? Okay, so there are 3 concentric squares. The area of the innermost square, right? Okay, the area of the innermost square, right? Okay, so the side of square 1 is how much? 1 unit, isn't it? Okay, and then the diagonal of square 1 is also 1 unit, isn't it? Okay, not 1 unit. Okay, this particular value, okay, I'm writing in yellow, this particular value is 1 unit, and this particular value is also 1 unit. Then how about this particular value, which is your diagonal? Why am I bothering about diagonal? Because this is what they have asked. The diagonal of the nth square is 2n plus root 2 minus 2, right? Okay, 2n plus root 2 minus 2 is what they are asking. So diagonal will be root under 1 square plus 1 square, right? Okay, which will give you how much? Root 2, right? Root 2 is a number, is what you will be getting over here, right? Okay, so this is the diagonal, right? This is the first diagonal over here, right? Isn't it? Okay, now they are also saying one more point over here that you have to keep in mind is that is over here the distance between the corresponding corners of any two consecutive squares. Okay, right? The difference between the distance between the corresponding corners of any two consecutive squares. Okay, obviously this was the question that you were supposed to skip in the examination hall, right? But since we are studying over here, we are studying, so we should study, right? Okay, so what it is saying that this distance over here, okay, distance between the corners, right? Distance between the corners is 1 units. Okay, right? So obviously the length of the diagonal for the second square will be how much? This particular value, right, which is how much? Root 2 plus this particular value over here and this particular value over here plus 2, right? This is the value of d2, right? And now they have given the d2 can be d2 of the nth square, right? So d2 of the second square can be given as 2 into 2 plus root 2 minus 2, right? Okay, so 4 minus 2 is root 2 plus 2 over here, right? Okay, so it comes out correct. Okay, similarly if for d3, right, over here your d3 value will be how much? Root 2 plus 2, which is this particular value, plus this distance and this distance, right, which is also your plus 2 over here, which means 4 plus root 2, right? Okay, and now what is the length of the third diagonal over here? 3, right? 3 is the value of n into 2, right, or 2 into 3, both are same, right? Plus 2 minus 2. Okay, 6 plus root 2 minus 2, we are getting 4 plus root 2, which is the same value that we have found out directly from the given figure, right? Okay, so obviously we can say that the diagonal of the nth square is, right, the diagonal of the nth square is 2n plus root 2 minus 1. Okay, we can say, but just hold on. Okay, if I have to take n is equal to 4, right, n is equal to 4, that means d4 over here will be this particular value plus, right, 4 plus root 2, 4 plus root 2 plus 2, right, plus 2, which means 6 plus root 2. Now if you have to put 4 over here in place of n, which is your 8 plus root 2 minus 2, right, which is your 6 plus root 2, right? Okay, so indeed over here your option number 1, the observation 1 over here is the correct answer for sure, folks, right? Okay, okay, now the next one is the area included between the nth square and the n minus 1 square is independent of n, is what they are saying, right? Okay, is independent of n, right? Okay, now one thing you knew, right, one thing you knew over here, that over here we knew this value is, right, is d1 diagonal 1 is equal to root 2 diagonal 2, the length of diagonal 2 is 2 plus root 2, right? Okay, length of diagonal 1 is root 2 and length of diagonal 2 is 2 plus root 2, right, isn't it? Okay, now we also know the side 1 already is 1 unit, okay, right, and the side 2 will be how much? 2 plus root 2 divided by root 2. Why am I doing divided by root 2? Okay, so if you have this particular square, right, I mean this is triangle, okay, this is square, if this value is 1, this value is 1, and diagonal value is root 2, right, so diagonal divided by root 2 will give you 1, isn't it? Okay, so this particular value is root 2 into root 2 plus 1 divided by root 2, this one gone, right? Okay, so the side of the second square is root 2 plus 1, okay, root 2 plus 1, okay. Now area A1, right, the first one, the area of this particular square over here is what? This side and whole square, also they have already given it is one unit, right, and area of the second square will be whole square of this particular value, right? Okay, which means your root 2 plus 1 whole square, right? Okay, which is your 2 plus 1, 3 plus 2 root 2, okay, right? You have area 1 and you have area 2, right? You have area 1, you have area 2, right? Can you say, right, the area included in between? This is the area included in between. How will you find out area included in between? So 3 plus 2 root 2 minus 1, which is 2 plus 2 root 2, which is obviously independent of n, right? So in this answer we don't have n, right? N is not playing any role, right? So this is also correct and this one is also correct, right? So for question number 82 we will go ahead with, right, both the correct as the answers, folks, right? Okay, so in this case both 1 and 2 over here is going to be the correct answer, right? Now question number 83, if you move to question number 83, in a rectangle ABCD, right, if we have a rectangle ABCD, right, who has joined? Can you please write down who has joined? Okay, right, so in a rectangle ABCD, right, AC is the diagonal, right? Okay, now this is that one question that you should not have missed. Okay, so question number 83 over here is your ABCD is a rectangle, right? Okay, So A, B, C, D is a rectangle, and AC is one of the diagonals. Okay, AC is one of the diagonals, right? Okay, and AC plus AB, right? AC plus AB is equal to 3 times of AD, right? Okay, AC is this particular value plus AB is 3 times of AD. This is what they have given, and also they have given AC minus AD is equal to 4 unit. Okay, now what I want you to understand that if it is a rectangle, the value of AD and the value of BC will be the same, right? Why am I writing that? Why am I thinking of that thing? Because we are going to use Pythagoras theorem in this particular triangle, right? ABC, to solve that. Okay, if it is a rectangle, the value of AD is equal to going to be the value of BC, right? So which means AC minus BC is equal to 4, right? If this is the observation, if we have, if I assume the BC value is x, right? Okay, if I assume BC value as x over here, right? So obviously AC value will be how much? AC value will be x plus 4, right? This will be the value of x, right? Which is your x plus 4. These two values are given over here, right? Yes or no? Now we have one more observation that they have given, right? AC plus AB, AC plus AB, AC plus AB is equal to 3 times of AD, right? Okay, now again, instead of writing this AD, we can also write simply BC, right? Instead of writing AD, we can write BC. So if we write that AC, why? Because all of these are 3 parts of the same triangle ABC, right? Okay, so AC plus AB is equal to 3 times of BC is what you have. Okay, right? Now we also know the value of AC. The value of AC is x plus 4, and the value of AB we don't know, right? And the value of BC is 3 times of x, right? Is that what we have, right? So which means the value of AB over here will be 2x minus 4. Okay, 2x minus 4, right? Okay, so the value of AB over here is 2x minus 4, right? Now can you apply Pythagoras theorem in that particular stuff over here, right? Okay, so if you apply Pythagoras theorem, so what happens? If you apply Pythagoras theorem over here, so we know you have 3 different sides and the hypotenuse, right? So which means x square plus 2x minus 4 whole square is equal to x plus 4 whole square is what we have. Okay, right? So which is your x square plus 4x square plus 16 minus 16x is equal to x square plus 16 plus 8x is what you have, right? Okay, is what we have, right? So from here we can say 16 gone from this side, 16 also gone from this side, x square gone this side, and x square also gone from this side, right? So what you are left over here is with 4x square minus 16x is equal to 8x, okay, which means 4x square is equal to 24x, right? So from here you can say this one x gone, this one of the x gone, right? So and the value of x is equal to, right, 6, right? And what they have asked, what is the area of the triangle? Area of the triangle is half into base. Base value is 2x minus 4. This is the base, okay, and this is the height, okay, into x, right? So half into x value is 6 already, right? So 6 into 2 is 12. 12 minus 4 is 8 into 6, right? This one gone 4 times, okay. This is your 24, right? Okay, right? This is how much? 24 square unit over here is going to be the answer for question number 83, folks. Okay, I hope you guys are covering it up. Okay, these questions are not that tough, okay, but then you will have to work around it. Okay, it's as simple as that. Okay, right? So if you don't work around it, then there's a problem. Okay, right? The practice needs to be there, and a good amount of practice needs to be there. Okay, right? Mm. Hold on. Good morning. Okay, so this is your question number 83. Now this is your question number 84. Okay, there is a slight change in question number 84. Instead of 3 over here, the digit is 4. Okay, yeah. Yeah, what do you guys think about this? Okay, the area of the circle circumscribing 3 identical circles. Okay, right? So the area of the circle circumscribing 3 identical circles. Okay, right? This is what you have. Or we can write it like this. These are the one is the bigger circle and the another one are the smaller circle, right? So the area of circle circumscribing 3 identical circle touching each other. Okay, right? So the area of the bigger circle, the outer circle, is this particular value. Okay. So what is the radius of the one of the smaller circles is what they are asking. Okay, so I'll just reduce the size of the nib over here, right? Okay, so this looks something like this, folks. Okay, right? Okay, if you join the centers of each of these smaller circles, what we get over here is an equilateral triangle, folks, right? Okay, if this is an equilateral triangle, then obviously this value will be r, this value will also be r, this value will be r, this value will be r, this value will be r. Okay, so basically you have an equilateral triangle over here, right? Equilateral triangle over here, which is each of the values over here are r. Okay, each of the values are how much? R. Okay, or in fact 2r. Okay, in fact 2r. If I drop a perpendicular from this particular line, right, from the vertex, right, so this value over here, okay, this value over here is how much? R. Okay, now can we find out the height over here, right? The height in that case will be what? Okay, hypotenuse, so square minus the base square, right, which is your 4r square minus r square, which is your 3r square, right? Okay, 3r square. So this is the length over here. I'll write that in black. Okay, this length in black over here is your 3r square, right? 3r square. And now this length will be how much? Okay, this length will be equivalent to r, folks. Okay, right? Because this particular value, and this is kind of you are drawing from the center to the to the circumference, right? Okay, so this value will be r, and this value will also be r. Okay, so over here you have 3r square, right? 3r square over here, root under, right? Okay, root under, we are applying Pythagoras theorem, right? Isn't it? Plus 2r is what we have. Okay, which gives us root under 3r plus 2r. Okay, right? Now root under 2r plus 3r is basically this whole entire length. Okay, right? if this is whole entire length, which means this is the diameter d, so what will be the radius? So radius will be root 3r plus 2r, okay, or for that matter we will write it in a different manner, okay. So r into root 3 plus 2 divided by 2 is what we are going to write, folks, okay. Now they have already given the area of the bigger circle is this, okay. If they have given the area of the bigger circle is this, so pi into r square, right, pi into r square, root 3 plus 2 whole square divided by 4. I am doing the whole square of this, okay, I am writing it in r square, is equal to pi into 2 plus root 3 whole square by 4 is what we have, right. So this pi gone, root 3 plus 2 whole square, root 3 plus 2 whole square gone, okay. So r square is equal to 1, which means r over here is equal to 1, folks, okay. So in CDS exam, you should not really be frightened about these things, okay, right. Don't be frightened over here, okay. All right, so this was your question number 84, folks, okay. Now for this particular one, 85, right, you have a triangle ABC, right. This is a triangle ABC over here is 21 centimeter, right. BC is equal to 20 centimeter and AC is equal to 13 centimeter. A perpendicular CD is drawn upon the longest side, okay. This is the perpendicular CD is drawn upon the longest side, okay. So what is the area of the triangle BCD is what they are asking, okay. What is the area of the triangle BCD? Over here is a D. Over here is a D, folks, okay, right. This is the value of D over here, okay. This is the value of D over here, right, okay. I mean this is the area that they have to find out, that they have told us to find out, okay. So if I have to assume, right, this entire value is 21, okay. So if I have to assume the value of AD is equal to x, then automatically the value of BD will be 21 minus x, right, will be 21 minus x, right, okay. Now if you look at the triangle, right, if you look at this particular triangle over here, right, okay, which is your D, C and B, right, okay, D, C and B, let's say this C is for both of it, okay, right, D, C and B, right, okay, then CB is equal to 20, right. Now CB is equal to 20. This is your CD, right, okay, and DB value is 21 minus x, okay. So in that case we can say CD square, okay, CD square is this value whole square, right, 20 square minus of 21 minus x whole square. Is that what we have to say, right, okay. Similarly from here also, similarly from this particular triangle also, ADC, right, ADC we can say, right, CD square over here is CD square over here is AC square minus AD square, right. AC square we already know, right, 13 square, AD square is x square, is all we know, right, okay. Now this is the value of CD, this is also the value of CD, okay, right. So can we say both of these are the same, right, isn't it, okay. So which means 169 minus x square is equal to this particular value, okay, which is a 20 square, which is a 400, minus 21 square is 441, minus of x square, okay, right. Sorry, this is plus of x square minus of 42x. Okay, we are solving for this particular stuff, isn't it? Okay, so now we'll erase this to make some space. All right. Okay, so in that case, this particular value over here is 169 minus x square, which is equal to 400 minus 441 minus of x square plus minus 42x, right? Is that what we have, right? Now this particular value x square and this particular value minus of x square, these two gone on to a toss. Now we have 169 is equal to minus of 41 and minus of 42x, okay, right? So if we solve for this, this is 210 divided by 42 is equal to x, right? Okay, so this is equal to 5 over here, right? Now if you know the value of 5, x is equal to 5 over here, right? So which means AD is 5, right? AD was x, right? Okay, AD is 5 and this value is 16, right? So what is the area of the triangle BCD is what they are asking, right? Okay, so now also you had, if it is 5, this is 13, then obviously this will be your 12. Okay, so AD is the altitude, which is your 12, okay, and BD is the base, which is your 16. So half into base into height, okay. So 12 into 8 is 96 square centimeter is what going to be the answer for this particular question, folks. Okay, I hope you guys are understanding. Okay, right? So with that we'll move to the next question, question number 86 in that case, right? Question number 86, there are two containers A and B, right? They're saying there are two containers A and B, okay. You have two containers A and B. In the container A, the ratio of milk and water is 1:3, and in the container B, the ratio of milk and water is m:n, okay, right? So now this question will look a little bit complicated, but let's just try to understand. Okay, there are two containers, right? Okay, right? Container A, right? Milk is to water. Container A, milk is to water is 1:3. Okay. Container B, milk is to water is m:n is what they are saying. Okay. If the mixture of the container A and B are mixed in the ratio, okay, right, to get 20 liters of a mixture having milk and water, okay. So the mixture is 20 liter, and in that mixture, what is the ratio of milk and water, right? The ratio of milk and water in that is your over here, right? 14 and 6, right? Milk is how much? 3 parts out of 10, which means out of 20 it is 16 parts, sorry, 6 part, right? Isn't it? And water over here is how much? Okay, 14 part, right? Okay, so A and B are mixed in the ratio of 2:3 to get 20 liters, okay, right? Okay, now when we say if A and B are mixed, okay, A is to B are mixed in the ratio of 1:2, in the ratio of 2:3, sorry, okay, 2:3, which means out of 20 part, okay, the liquid A, the mixture A was how much? Okay, 8 only, right? And the mixture B was how much? 12 only, right? Isn't it? 8 and 12. Yes or no, folks? Okay. Yes or no? Okay. Why? Because this is the, out of this 20 liters, overall is milk, overall is water. Okay, and out of this 20 liter only, right, how many was coming from case A and how many was coming from case B, right? 8 liters was coming from A and 12 liters was coming from B. Why? Because the ratio of A is to B, they have been mixed in the ratio of 2 is to 3, right? Isn't it? Okay, so now they have also said one more thing over here is that A is in A milk and water ratio is 3 is to 1. Okay, in A milk and water ratio is 3 is to 1, sorry, 1 is to 3, right? So in A, right, out of those 8 for A, right, for A only, right? Okay, milk is how much? Okay, 2 is to 1, 1 is to 3, right? So over here it will be 2 and over here it will be 6, right? Now for B, right, out of 12 liters, right, how much is the milk, and how much is the water, right? Okay, now we'll go back. Okay, total milk over here is 6, right, 6 unit, but only 2 units has come from A, right? So who is providing the next unit? 4 is providing the, sorry, B is providing the next 4 unit of milk. Okay, total water over here is 14 unit. Okay, 6 units is already been provided by A. So who is providing the rest of the 8 units, right? B is providing the rest of the 8 units over here, right? Okay, which is in itself is the ratio of milk and water in your B. Okay, which is your 1 is to 2, right? 1 by 2 folks, right? 86, we'll go ahead with 1 by 2 as the correct answer, folks. Okay, it looks complicated, right? But honestly, this is not, right? Okay, this is not at all a complicated question, folks, right? Okay, now let's move on to question number 87. In that case, I know these questions are very challenging, so you will have to stick over here with us, and only if you stick over here with us and practice these sums, then only something can happen, right? Okay, a cone, a hemisphere and a cylinder stand on the equal base, right? Okay, so you have a cone, right, and you also have a hemisphere, right, and also you have a cylinder. This is how it looks. Okay, equal base, equal height. Okay, right, equal base means for all radius is r and height is also h. Okay, right, same height means what? If this value for hemisphere r is equal to h, in that case r it will be equal to h in all of this. Okay, this value is also r, this value is also r. Okay, this value is also r, this value is also r, is what they are saying. Okay, right, and that is the only point, this is the only point that you guys have to understand, right? So if the sum of the volumes of cone, right, what is the volume of the cone? 1 by 3 pi r square h, right, plus 2 by 3 pi r cube, right, 2 by 3 pi r cube. Okay, right, pi r square h, right. The hemisphere and the cylinder is equal to the volume of sphere of radius r. Okay, right, which is equal to the volume of a sphere of radius r, 4 by 3 pi r cube, right. This is what they are saying. Okay, now instead of writing h over here, can we write simply r, right? If we write r, this r square will become how much? R cube, right? Already R cube, okay. R square H means simply over here R cube is what we can write, folks, okay. This is your 1 by 3 pi R cube. This is your 2 by 3 pi R cube, right? Okay. Basically, this is your pi R cube, right? Plus pi R cube, right? Okay, right? Which is equal to 4 by 3 pi capital R cube, right? 4 by 3 pi capital R cube is what you have, okay, right? So now let me just make some space over here. So instead of writing pi, I can write over here 2 times of pi R cube is equal to 4 by 3 pi into capital R cube, isn't it? Is that what we have? Just rearranging the stuff, right? So which means pi gone from here, right? And pi gone from here also, right? 2 gone from here. So over here instead I will be writing 2, right? So 3 times of small r square crisscross, right, is equal to 3 times of small r cube is equal to 2 times of capital R cube, right? Okay. So which means R cube divided by R cube over here is equal to 2 by 3. Okay. Now they are asking just reciprocal of this particular value. So it will be how much? 3 by 2 instead of that. Okay. So we will go ahead for question number 87. B as the answer to this particular question. Okay. Question number 87, we will go ahead with this. Okay. Yeah. A majority of the aspirants run away from mathematics, but when they solve it, it won't really be that difficult. Okay, right? There are some questions which are really severe in nature that you will realize. Okay, if you stick with me. Okay. Question number 88 says over here x cube plus px square plus qx plus r is an integer for all integral value of x, right? Then consider the following statement, okay, right? For all integral value of x, can I assume x is equal to 1? If I assume x is equal to 1, this is 1, this is your p, this is your q, and this is your r, okay? It is saying p must be an integer, okay? P must be an integer, okay? Is it necessary for p to be integer? What if the value of p is, I'm saying, 2 by 3 and the value of q is 1 by 3, right? Okay? In that case, that works out, right? Then p must be an integer, q must be an integer, both gone on to a toss, right? This is one case. Similarly, over here, I'm saying the value of q is equal to 1 and the value of r is equal to 1 by 3. Okay. If you do add all of this, you will see it need not be an integer for sure, right? Okay. So the correct answer for this particular question number 88 is none of the statements is correct, folks. Okay. Easy, right? Absolutely easy. Now question number 89, folks. Question number 89. What do you guys think about question number 89? Yeah. Yeah. So XYZ over here is a 3-digit number. Okay, right? XYZ is a 3-digit number wherein XYZ are distinct non-zero digits. Okay, distinct non-zero digits is what they are saying. Okay, right? The difference between the two 3-digit numbers, which is your XYZ and yxz, right? The difference is going to be 90 is what they are saying. Okay, then how many different values of x plus y are possible is what they are asking. Okay, right? If this is the case, then what is the possible values of x plus y is what they are asking, folks. Okay, right? Now if you look at this particular question, one thing is sure that z minus z will always be 0, right? Okay, so it does not make much of a sense. Okay, the only thing is that the difference of xy and yx should be 9, isn't it? The difference of xy and yx should be 9. Okay, if I start taking 2 1, okay, any value over here, 5 10, this value can be any value. Okay, if I take this particular value and over here, then xy is this particular value, then yx is this. Okay, if we do, is it coming 90, right? Okay, could you have taken 1 2 8 something like that over here and 2 1 8 something like that over here, right? Okay, right? So both of these are same only, kind of same only, right? Okay, this value of x and y, it just have got interchanged. Okay, right? Similarly, can you take 3 2 and this z value can be any value. I'm taking 7. Okay, 2 3 7, is it 0, is it 9? Okay, similarly, so 2 1 you could take, 2 3 you could take, right? Okay, 3 2, then you have 4 3 5 4 6 5 7 6 8 7 and 9 8. Okay, so how many possible values are there? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, right? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Is there any other value possible? Is there any other value possible? Right, there is no other value possible. So we'll go ahead with question number 89, right? 8 as the answer. Okay, now let's look at this. The first glance of this question will shake you up. Okay, how many times does the minute hand of a clock coincide with the second hand? Okay, how many times does the minute hand of the clock, second hand clock, coincide with the second hand? Okay, minute and second hand coinciding is what they are asking, right? Between the time 2.1 and 4.1. Okay, right? Imagine a clock, right? So every single minute, right? Right? The second hand, SECOND, second hand plus minute hand will coincide every single minute, isn't it? Okay, so between 2 o'clock and 1 minute and 4 o'clock 1 minute, there is a time gap of 2 hours, which means there is a time gap of 120 minutes. Okay, which means one thing is certain that it will meet by 120 times for sure. Okay, 120 times for sure, right? Okay, but now imagine the time itself right now is 2:01. Okay, the time itself is 2:01. Okay, right? Okay, so in that case will your second and minute hand will coincide? Will that coincide? Right? Okay, but when the time over here is 4 hours and exactly 1 minute. Okay, let's try to understand it this way. Okay, how many digits are there between 10 to 1? Okay, I'm asking between 10 to 1. Okay, right? How many digits are there between 10 to 1? Okay, right? So how to find out is that we do upper limit minus lower limit plus 1. Okay, right? Upper limit minus lower limit plus 1. Okay, now this case is for the inclusion of both of this. Okay, right? In this case, both of these numbers 10 and 1 are included. Okay, in between, you know, right? Okay, right? Right now, let's say 2 o'clock, right? Right now at 2 o'clock, the second hand will be here, isn't it? Okay, right? Between 2.01, okay, at 2.01, the minute hand will be slightly here, isn't it? Okay, and the second hand will be here at this particular point. Okay, isn't it? At this particular point. So in that case, they are not coinciding. Okay, they are not coinciding, right? Okay, but at 4 hours and 1 minute, right? At 4 hours and 1 minute, they will coincide, isn't it? Okay, at 4 hours and 1 minute, okay, the second hand would have crossed this minute hand so as to reach over here, right? Isn't it? Okay, that is why one more number will be added over here, and the answer will be 121, folks, and not 120. If you take 120, it will be a error. Okay, right? What do you folks think about this question? Question number 91. What is the HCF of this particular value? Okay, if you have solved this PYQ, such a question has been asked to you multiple times, isn't it? Right? Right? So what is the HCF of this particular value, folks? Okay, right? If you have done the PYQs, right? So for such a type of question, 2 raised to the power HCF of 36 and 45, which is your 9 minus 1. Okay, 2 raised to the power 9 minus 1. Okay, 2 raised to the power 9 is 512 minus 1 over here is 511. Right? So question number 91. C is what going to be the correct answer, folks. Right? Question number 91. C is what going to be the correct answer. Okay. Right? Easy. Now let's look at this. Okay. We will not look at the options. These are the options over here. Right? Okay. We will not look at the option. This section of a solid. Okay. A right circular cone, right, by a plane containing vertex and perpendicular to base, right? Okay. So this is your right circular cone. This is the radius of the right circular cone, and this is the height of the right circular cone. This section of a solid right circular cone by a plane containing vertex, right? So this is the vertex and perpendicular to the base, right? This is the perpendicular to the base, is an equilateral triangle, right? Okay, right? Containing vertex and perpendicular to the base, right? Okay, so basically this is the perpendicular to the base, and this is that plane about which we are talking about. Okay, this is that particular plane about which we are talking. Okay, right? So this is an equilateral triangle, right? Okay, right? Of side 14 centimeter, right? If it is side 14 centimeter, means slant height is 14 centimeter is what they are asking, right? Okay, so radius over here is 7, right? Isn't it? Because if it is an equilateral triangle, the radius will be 7, right? Now O and this particular point is OD, right? Okay, so OD is it equal to root under, right, hypotenuse square 14 square minus 7 square, right? Okay, right? So how much is this? Okay, a plus b into a minus b, right, which is your 7 root 3, right? So 7 root 3 is simply nothing but your height of the cone, right? So now if you have to find out the volume of the cone, right, 1 by 3 pi r square h, right? R value is 7 is what we know, right? No, R value is 7 over here. Okay, right? R value is 7, right? So 1 by 3 pi into r square is 49 into h is equal to 7 root 3. This one root 3 over here will go, and over here we will write root 3. Okay, right? 1 by 3 pi r square into h, right? So now over here you have how much? Okay, they have told to take the value of pi. Okay, so the value of pi is 22 by 7, this one gone, 22 into 49 divided by root 3, right? If you calculate this, the unit digit will be 8 for sure, right? And in the denominator you have root 3, right? So this is what B is what going to be the correct answer for this particular question, folks, right? All right, so we will move to the next question. Question number 93. 3 identical cones, each with base radius 3 centimeter, are placed on their bases so that each is touching the other two. Okay, there will be only one and only circle that would pass through, right, each of the vertices of the cone. Okay, what is the area of the circle is what they are asking. Three identical cones, each with base radius 3 centimeter, right? Okay, we have 3 centimeter as the base radius, right? Okay, so we have 3 cones, right? We have 3 different cones like this. Okay, and each of these cones are touching each other. Okay, like imagine that in 3D. Okay, and on that we have this circle over here, right? This is what they are asking. Okay, there will be only one circle that will pass through each of the vertices of the cone, right? Each of the vertices of the cone is what they are saying, right? Isn't it? So what is the area of the circle is what they are asking. Okay, what is the area of the circle? Okay, can I, this was the diagram in 3D. Okay, let it be. Okay, can I draw it in 2D? If you look it from the top, this is the base of the cone. These are the bases of the cone, right? Okay, now this is the vertex. I'm denoting this vertex in the form of a point. Okay, this is the vertex, right? Okay, and there is one circle which passes through these points. Okay, which passes through this point. So they are asking what is the area of this. Right. So 3 identical cones, each with base radius, right? If they have the base radius, if you connect each of these base radius, right, if we connect each of this base radius over here, right? Okay, we connected each of the base radius over here, right? Okay, then it will give us an equilateral triangle, right? Isn't it? So we have an equilateral triangle. This is 6, this is also 6, and this is also 6. Okay, so if we get it down, right, and this is 3, right? Okay, so now this stuff over here, right? Okay, AD over here is 6 square minus 3 square root under, right? Okay, this height, I'm talking about this particular height. Okay, right? This particular height, right? Okay, so this particular height is how much? 36 minus 9. Okay, root under 27. Okay, root under 27 means 3 root 3, isn't it? Root under 27 is 3 root 3, right? Okay, so now this is the value over here, right? Okay, let me call it O and let me call this point as D. Okay, so OD value is 3 root 3. Okay, right? Now I want you to look at it. I want you guys to look at it as a circle and an equilateral triangle inside it. Okay, and there is a perpendicular and there is this center of this. Okay, this center of that circle is all your centroid. Okay, right? Okay, in center, ortho center, and all that. Okay, all of this, isn't it? If it is centroid, okay, then it divide it in the ratio of 2:1. Okay, now this is the value of A, this is the value of D. Okay, I'm calling it as P. Right? Okay, so the value of AP will be 2 by 3 times of 3 root 3. This one gone, this one gone. 2 root 3, right? So which means the radius of the big circle over here is 2 root 3, right? Then what is the area of the circle? Pi into r square. Okay, pi into this one will give you 1 pi. Question number 93. We'll go ahead with D as an answer, folks. Okay. So holistic learning is required. Okay, aspirants, right? Okay, so aspirants, they don't study, that's the thing. Be very honest, direct, blunt with all of you, right? Okay, so right, right, so that's the entire thing, right? So you need to understand that it is very, very important. Okay, right? All right, folks, so we will move over here to the further questions in that case, right? All right, this is a question number 93. Now this is a question number 94, folks. Okay, question number 94. Okay, now question number 94 says a circle is inscribed in a triangle ABC, right? Okay, a circle is inscribed in a triangle ABC, right? Right angled at B. Okay, right? Right angled at B, ABC is right angled at B. Okay, if AB is equal to 5 centimeter, BC is equal to 12 centimeter, then obviously AC will be how much? 13 centimeter, right? Isn't it? Okay, then what is the radius of the circle? For this, the in radius for, right, the in radius of a right circular of a right angle triangle is simply, right, base, right, base plus height minus hypotenuse divided by 2, right? It's a standard formula that all of you are supposed to know, right? So question number 94, we'll go ahead with C as the answer, folks. Okay, right? Is that clear? So we'll move to the next one. The ratio of the sum of the, okay, interior angles, the ratio of the sum of the interior angles to the sum of the exterior angles, right? Okay, of a regular polygon of n side. Okay, right? So which means n into interior angles divided by n into exterior angles is given as 7:2, right? Okay, this one gone, right? Okay, 2 times of interior angles is equal to 7 times of exterior angles. Okay, right? So which means interior angles are 7 and exterior angles are 2. Sorry, right? Okay, and you also know one thing is that interior angle plus exterior angle is always 180 degree, right? So 7x plus 2x is equal to 180, which means 9x is equal to 180, right? Okay, which means your x is equal to 20, and what they have asked over here, is what is the measure of the interior angle. Okay, the measure of the interior angle is 7x, 7 into 20, which is your 140 degree, folks. Okay, right? How much is that? 140 degrees. So it's not the case that you should not, expect some sitter questions, right? Expect that, read that, and grab such a kind of question. Okay. Right? So this is your question number 95. Let's just solve this question number 96. Yeah. Please give me 1 minute and I come back. Yeah. So sorry about that, folks. Okay, so we'll move to the next one. Okay, the number 199 can be written as, okay, right, 199 can be written as, okay, m square minus n square is equal to 199, right, where m and n are natural number, m is greater than n. Okay, right, this is your m plus n and this is your m minus n, right. Now how can we solve this? Okay, if you look at this first option, does this option not look a little bit suspicious, right? How can you get 9900? Okay, you can get 9900 by doing 99 into 100, isn't it? Okay, now if you just place it, instead of m I write 100, for the place of n I write 99. Okay, 100 minus 99, is it giving you 199 into 1 is equal to 199? Yes, it worked out. Okay, so it can be easily be determined. Right. Okay, so there are some questions in which you will have to employ this smart lateral thinking, right? This is very, very important. Okay, how many numbers of the form 2 raised to the power n, okay, 5 minutes only, 2 raised to the power n minus 1 and less than 2000 are prime? So list that down. Okay, 2 raised to the power 1 minus 1 is 1 only. 2 square minus 1 is 3, which is a prime number. Yes. 2 cube minus 1, 7, which is a prime number. 2 raised to the power minus 1, 16 minus 1, 15 is not a prime number. Right. 32 minus 1, 31 is a prime number. Right. Okay. 32, 64 minus 1, 63 is not a prime number. Right. Okay. It's not a prime number, right? Okay, now the next is 64, 128 minus 1, right, isn't it, which is also not a prime number, divisible by 3, right? And then 256 minus 1 is 255, again it's not a prime number, right? 256, 512 minus 1, 511, we'll check for it, hold on. Okay, right, 1024 minus 1 is equal to 1023, again which is not a prime number, divisible by 3, right? And 1024 and the double of it will be 2048, which is basically 2 raised to the power 11. Okay, so we have got already 3 prime numbers, right? Okay, right, which is over here 3, 7 and 31, right? Now you have to check for 511, is it a prime number, right? This is not a prime number, this is not a prime number, this is not a prime number, this is more than 2000, not a prime number, not a prime number. Okay, so one thing is certain, that either this will be a prime number or this will not be a prime, right? Okay, so obviously the answer to this question is going to be either option A and option B, right? Option C and option D are gone on to a toss already, right, isn't it? Okay, so to check for the 511 whether it is a prime number or not, what do? We take the nearest value, which is a perfect square. Okay, right? Okay, which one? 20 square, 21 square, 22 square. I'm taking 23 square, right? Okay, so up till 23 list down each of the prime numbers here. Okay, up till 23 these are the prime numbers, right? Okay, 23, 19, 17, 13, 11, 7, 5, 3, 2. Okay, not divisible by 2, 3, 5 for sure. Okay, 49, okay, by 7. Yeah, it is divisible by 7 over here, folks, right? Okay, If it is divisible by 7 over here, so this is also not a prime number. So obviously we will go ahead with 97A as the correct answer, folks. Okay. How about question number 98? As I told to you, there are easy questions as well. Okay. That question number 98 is one such easy questions. Okay. In a class of 160 students, okay, total number of students are 160, right? Each of them at least opt for one language amongst English, Hindi and Sanskrit. Okay, English, Hindi and Sanskrit, right? It is found that 130 students opt for English, right? 120 students opt for Hindi and Sanskrit 110 students are opting for Sanskrit, right? Right? For Sanskrit, right? If the students opt either only one language or all the three language, okay, so which means opting for two language is 0, right? Then what is the number of students who opted for all the languages? Okay, I'm assuming that as x. If I assume that as x, this value is obviously only opting for English is this particular value. It is this particular value. It is this particular value. Okay, you can't miss this kind of question. Okay, you should be able to identify such a kind of question. Okay, now which means sum of this plus this plus this and plus this. Okay, right? So 360 minus of 3x plus 2 is equal to 160. Okay, it's not plus 2 plus x, right? Okay, so 360 minus 2x is equal to 160, right? Okay, which means 200 by 2 is equal to x. So question number 98, we go ahead with D as the correct answer, folks. Okay. If you miss such a question, it would be a criminal offense. Right? Now let's move on to question number 99. Right? Move on to question number 99. Okay. S is equal to 5 raised to the power A plus 7 raised to the power B plus 11 raised to the power C plus 13 raised to the power D. Okay, right? So what is the number of distinct remainders when S is divided by 10? Okay, 5 raised to the power A, 7 raised to the power B, 11 raised to the power C, 13 raised to the power D. Okay, when it is divided by 10. Okay, right? So we can write something like 5 raised to the power A, it is divided by 10. What is the remainder in that case? Okay, it will always be 5. So one number 5 is fixed. Okay, right? So let's not write that. Okay. Now if this second one, if this 7 raised to the power B is divided by 10, okay, if 7 raised to the power 1, the remainder will be 7. Okay, if 7 square 49. Okay, 7 cube 343. Okay, right? So all of these are your right. 7 into 3 is 21, right? Isn't it? Okay, so 1 over here is going to be, these are the possible values of remainder while you do 7 raised to the power B, while you divide 7 raised to the power B with 10. Okay, right? Similarly, 11 raised to the power C, if it is divided by 10, in all the cases, right, the remainder will be 1 only. So I'm simply writing it as, right, I'm simply writing it as 6. Okay, right? Now over here, right, 13 raised to the power D, if it is divided by 3, so I can simply say otherwise also, it is 3 raised to the power D divided by 10. Okay, it is as good as finding the remainder when you do 3 raised to the power D upon divided by 10. Okay, so in that case the remainder could be 3, remainder could be 9, okay, remainder could be 7 and 1. Okay, right. Okay, now 5 plus 1, this value is 6 only, for sure 6 only, right. Okay, now over here from 7 you will get either 1 or 3 or 7 or 9. Okay, and from here also you can get either 1, 3, 7 or 9. Okay, right. Okay, now I will fix this one over here, right. So in that case what do we get? Okay, right. 6 plus 1, 7 plus 8, right. 6 plus 1, 7, 7 3, 10, 7 7, 14, right. 6 plus 1, 7, 9 7, 16. Okay, now I will fix this number. Okay, 6 plus 3 is 9 plus 1, 10, 10 already there. Okay, then you have 6 plus 3, 9, 9 plus 3 is 12. Okay, 6 plus 3 is 9, 9 plus 7 is 16 already there. Okay, right. Okay, 6 plus 3 is 9, 9 plus 9 is 18, right. Okay, now I will fix this number. So 6 plus 7 is 13, plus 1 is 14 already there. Okay, 6 plus 1, 6 plus 7, right. Okay, 6 plus 7, how much? 13 plus 3 is 16 already there, right. 6 plus 7, 13 plus 7, okay, 13 plus 7 is 20, 20 is as good as saying remainder is 0, right. Okay, so 6 plus 7 is 13, 13 plus 9 is 22, right. 22 is saying as good as remainder is 2, right, or 12, right. Now we will fix this, right. So 6 plus 9 over here is how much? 15, 15 plus 6 plus 9 is 15 plus 1 is 16, 16 already there, right. 6 plus 9 is 15 plus 3 is 18 already there, right. Okay, 6 plus 9, 15 plus 7 is 22, 22 is saying as good as, remainder is 12. So 6 plus 9, 15 plus 9 is 24, 24 is saying as good as 14, right. Okay, or remainder otherwise is 4, right. And 8 and 18 as good as saying as remainder is 8. Okay, in this case you can have, if 10 is a remainder, right, then obviously 10 divided by 10, the effective remainder will be 0. In this case the remainder will be 2, in this case remainder will be 4, in this case remainder will be 6, in this case the remainder will be 8, folks. Okay, now you will ask, sir, 0, how can 0 be the remainder? It is completely divisible. Okay, they are not saying that whether it is completely divisible or not. Okay, so the remainder itself is 0, right. Okay, so we go ahead with which of the answers over here? We go ahead with C as the correct answer for question number 99, folks. Easy, right. So we'll move to the last and final question of mathematics for this particular session of examination, right. Okay, thank you so much all of you for tuning in with me, right. Okay, so let's get started with the last and final 100 question. I have done a few papers for mathematics this whole session. I started it long back itself, right. Okay, and we have been doing it consistently, right. So in the next session also we'll get started with doing these questions pretty much early, right. Okay, so before that, what I wanted to tell is we are conducting a scholarship test, right. Okay, on 28th of this month. So this is the QR code that you have right in front of you, right. What I want you guys is to scan this QR code, okay, and register for the scholarship test, right. Okay, want to prepare with us, right. Register for the scholarship test and do prepare with us for sure, right. Okay, so yeah, let's move on to question number 100. In that case, in a right angle triangle ABC, angle A over here is your 90 degree. Angle A is 90 degree and AD is perpendicular to BC. If AD is perpendicular to BC, this is your AD, right? If CAD, right, ABC, right, CAD is equal to 60 degree, right? This is 90 degree, then obviously this is your 30 degrees, right? Okay, right? So this is 90, 30, and this is 60, right? Okay. BC value they have already given 6 centimeter. Just look at the question. How much of a sitter question is this? Okay, right? Then what is the value of AB is what they are asking. AB is what they are asking. Okay, right? If I apply from here sine 30 is equal to opposite by hypotenuse, right? Sine 30 is how much? Half, right? Okay, right? AB value is what they have asked to find out. BC is the hypotenuse, so this is your this, right? So AB is equal to 3 centimeter is what going to be the answer, folks, for question number 100. C is going to be the answer. So let me just show you the QR code all over again, right? Okay, so scan this QR code once and you will be asked to fill up a few questionnaires. I've also included I've also included your detailed notification as well. Kindly go through those detailed notification as well once as well. Okay, we are providing up to 20,000 rupees worth of scholarship over here. If you join us over here, up to 100%, up to 20,000 scholarship we are providing. Okay, if you opt for a 2-year course, Bravo course that we have, your 20,000 rupees will be adjusted as scholarship over there, folks. So thank you so much, folks, for joining. I hope you have scanned the QR code over here. Okay, and then I'll see you soon. Okay, maybe in the evening I'll let you know. Today is 9th. Okay, so I would like to do a few questions, right, in the evening as well. So if you do a few questions and then we'll just get going. Okay, you might want to do English or GK question, okay, as well. Okay, so thank you so much, folks. Bye bye and good morning, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Take care.